Welcome back, everybody, to the Fandalorian Club here on Apocalypse Movies. My name is Jake Berlin. I'm your host here for the evening, and we have one extra member for the first time this season. He is the third part of the Fandalorian Club, but he's only been able to be on this show so far. Mr. Gio Ramos has joined us.
Yeah.
Presence.
Oh yeah.
Gio, how you doing, man?
Good. You guys ready? You guys ready to drag me along and help fill in the lore and the names and all these different planets and whatnot? No, it's good to be back. It's nice. I just I saw the last two and I was just like, oh, I want to get back here, man, because like Andor's legit been like unlike anything I've seen in a while, certainly from the Disney Plus era and the streaming series, but that's a whole other conversation. I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Awesome. And Mr. Brian Avicino, you're at the old Madres, but how you doing?
Chilling. That's about it. Can't complain yet.
Fair.
Away from Sacramento.
So very quiet. Very quiet. I love not hearing the church bell go off every hour, the ambulance, and noise.
How's the Zodiac Killer?
Still probably hasn't been caught.
How's the Meatloaf, Brian?
The Meatloaf, she hasn't even been home yet, so she had a staff meeting tonight. So haven't had a chance to yell at her. Yeah, so no Meatloaf just yet. She hasn't even been home yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Samir, just to answer your little comment here about character names, we have all of the character names in our private chat, so we don't forget names.
There's so many.
It's just they're too confusing at this moment in time, so we literally type them out in our private chat on StreamYard, so we can use it as reference. So,
and it's like is it worth knowing this person's name by heart if they're gonna get killed off the next episode or whatnot? I'm trying to get a feel for who the main players are gonna be. After all, it is 12 episodes this season, right?
Yeah, I learned Nemec's name, and he's for sure getting killed off the next episode. So
I think they all are.
Probably.
I think there's a chance they all die next episode. So
yeah.
Oh man, they're gonna get the Slipknot treatment.
Probably.
We'll talk about it though. Yeah, look, we're here to talk episode 5 of Andor. As my dogs are scratching at something.
Yeah, I heard it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the laundry currently going. It has 4 minutes left on the cycle, so you're gonna hear a ding, ding, ding here in a sec. Kylo, hey, come here.
Can I ask Brian a quick question?
For food or something, but anyway, Gio, go
ahead. Brian, you said church bells outside of where you reside in Sacramento. Does that remind you of like Andor and ding ding?
No, I never thought about it that way, but now that you put that in my head, I'm gonna probably imagine it.
A silver lining to your misfortunes of your surroundings.
Yeah, it's a good day when I don't when it just passes by me, but then there's some days that I hear every single one and I'm just like, God, this is annoying. But yeah,
Gordon.
Now I'm just gonna picture the guy on the top of it now, because there's literally like a little arch thing that looks just like the top of it. I'm just gonna imagine that now.
There you go.
All right, well, before we get into episode 5, I want to throw it to Gio real quick because he has not been on for the first 4. Gio, you don't have to go into super high detail about anything, but we're curious about your thoughts so far in Andor. Leaving everything out for episode 5 because we're obviously going to get into it. What are your thoughts on everything that is Andor so far this season?
Oh man, dude, it's really a tale for me of 2 halves. The first half is the first 3 episodes, and just that felt like kind of its own little mini arc, meeting Andor for the first time, Cassian, and what he is as a character, and how he comes off, always keeping everyone around him on the edge, because they're like, whoa, I haven't seen you in forever, now you need something from me, or where's my money and this and that, similar to characters we've seen before in Star Wars. But that whole 3-episode beginning with the battle with the local security, who I refer to as rent-a-cops, trying to be do the Imperials work for
What was
them.
their official name again? I forgot what the
corporate
name was.
alliance. Isn't
Corpse,
it
the corpse,
corporate?
the corpos.
Corpos. Man, dude, what a 3-part just whole beginning to this series, and then from there it just elevates with Luthen, Skarsgard coming on board and their relationship. It kind of reminded me of I need to rewatch Solo, but Woody Harrelson and young Solo, kind of
Who
picking
plays young
him up.
Solo, Gio?
Alden Ehrenreich, who
There you go.
we will see in the future of Star Wars. Mark my words. No insider news.
So.
Hopefully.
So, but yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And something about just the whole writing of dialogue, Tony Gilroy, we know what he is and what he's done. That's great. Just, it feels cinematic. It does.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it reminds me of what Harry Styles said about "Don't Worry, Darling." It feels like a movie, like you're watching a movie for the big screen, and it's just cinematic. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. So, yeah.
And Gio, just to answer your question, I know Gordon said it in the chat, but I was going to bring it up. The series, all of it, is being set up as 3-episode arcs. So each 3 episode is like its own little storytelling in the big picture.
Clone Wars things.
Yeah. So the first 3 episodes, that's why they fit together so well. That's why they released them together. And now we're moving into like this heist episode arc, and then we'll move into something different. And then, but it's all going to be obviously in one giant storyline, just broken up into 3 different sections or 4 different sections through the season. And then in season 2, there will be 12 episodes again, 3-episode arcs, but every 3 episodes is 1 year of Cassian's life. So
Wow.
the second season is 4 years leading up directly into Rogue One. So it's a very unique type of storytelling they're doing for this show.
And there's something to be said about how well done that is, because I had no knowledge about that, yet I was able to pick up on that. And I'm sure once we see the next episode, very much a cliffhanger, then it's going to be like, wow, that you literally could, without even knowing anything, to be like, wow, this was an incredible, 2 parts, and the next ones that follow. So
yeah, good
on them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's get into this episode, because there's a lot to talk about, but also at the same time, there's not a lot to talk about. The majority of the episode follows Cassian as he's still kind of integrating himself into this rebellion camp. We get a lot more of these characters that we met for the first time last episode, and kind of like where their mindsets are at, and them questioning Cassian a little bit, him trying to gain their trust. There are some very interesting things that happen. We obviously got some inside cool, visual shots with Gorn at the Imperial base, which was really cool. We got a little bit of Mon Mothma, still not too much, but I feel like her story is going to come a little bit later on in the series, or the season, excuse me, compared to these first 5 or 6 episodes. But Brian, let me shoot it to you first. Just kind of quick, immediate reaction to episode 5.
So it's funny. I'm giving this show almost like, I don't want to say a pass, but like I'm almost kind of treating it different than other shows, because like when you truly look at it, like not a lot really happened this episode, like in as any capacity. Like it was mostly just talking and like setup.
It's all character development.
Yeah. But so like, it's funny though, because like where I would say like on other shows, anything like, oh, this was like a filler episode. This show is so much designed where it feels like just like a long movie that's broken up into bits, that like I almost looked at it like this was just another part of the movie. Like it didn't like upset me that like nothing happened really. There was no action. Like it didn't bother me. Like, there's been shows that I'm just like, well, that was a filler episode. And I mean, like I said, nothing crazy happened. Did I absolutely like jump for joy and love it? Like, no, it's not like, but it's at the same time, like I'm not treating it like any other show. It just felt like a part of the movie that was just in the middle. Like Gio and I were talking yesterday, and you're gonna roll your eyes, but like in the sense of like comparing it to like a Snyder Cut where it was like 6, like it was into little bits.
Like
it's
chapters,
one long thing. It's almost like kind of like chapters that's happening, and it's just this long movie, and it makes perfect sense now. I didn't hear. Did the Tony Gilroy say it? The 3 like arc things?
That's been a thing for a little bit.
Yeah, I never heard that, and it makes absolutely perfect sense now because literally the first 3 episodes there was like beginning, middle, end. This is clearly doing beginning, middle, end. If they're doing this in 3s, so like, as I didn't mind it. Like, did anything really go crazy? No. Did I hate it? No. Was I like salivating to watch it again? No, because it was just literally the middle of the story part that's being told. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but it didn't like phase me. I'm just literally like sitting here like, all right, give me the next episode so I can see the next part.
No, so for me, I think it hits me a little differently, and I'm not saying that you guys aren't or anybody watching or whatever, but everyone knows how big of a television fan I am. Like, I watch an enormous amount of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a thing. I enjoy TV storytelling, and so I've heard, I've watched a couple reviews today. I was listening to Alex and Molly earlier. I'm hearing you say it. Everyone has brought up kind of the pacing of the episode, right? And like the idea behind the episode of taking its time, and it's a little slower. It's a setup episode. To me, like, I'm almost used to it because this is what happens in television. And I'm not saying that like other people don't watch television. That's not what I'm saying. But television series, good ones, they have episodes that do this. They have episodes that take their time an episode. It's a transition from one part to another, or they take their time on one specific character, or they step back from the main story and tell like a story of someone's origin from the past or whatever it may be. And so for me, it almost felt like a normal thing that was happening, just because with all the TV shows that I watch, it's usually what happens. And I think a lot of people are being caught off by it because so far with Marvel and Star Wars, like, of course they have their television, they have their TV feel, vibe. It's kind of set up that way. But for the most part, they're being made to feel like a movie. This is being made as a great television show. This isn't being made as a movie. But the funny thing is, it being made as a great television show has had us all saying, out of everything, it feels the most like a movie. It's like the weirdest thing to say, because we talk about like Mando and WandaVision and Loki, and we've talked about how like it's these big gigantic stories, and they're trying to make Star Wars for the small screen or Marvel for the small screen. They're literally making this for the small screen, but it feels like it deserves to be on a big screen, where we haven't really had that so far with any of these shows. There's a couple episodes here and there, that have that feeling, but I really
very much. Sorry, I was gonna say it feels very much like you could literally, when this whole thing is over, put it all in one iMovie file and just clip the endings and just fold it together, and it would literally just be a. It's literally going to be a
4-act movie. It's going to be a 4-act movie. And I love the slow burn that it's giving us. I do. I think it's incredibly smart. As big and awesome that Rogue One was with all of its action, the heist element and everything, down to its core, the film was about its characters. It was a character study on Jin, Cassian, Baze, all of these characters that we met in that movie. Cheer it, sure. They're taking that and they're scaling it down to Andor, and they're doing a case study on Cassian again, Luthen, Vel, Nemec. All of these characters we're now meeting, instead of putting him in this big, gigantic universe, right, with world-ending stakes, they're telling a smaller story. They're slimming the scale down and focusing strictly on the characters. And I love it. I love how much they're taking their time. They recognize that they have 12 episodes to tell whatever story they're telling, and they don't need to go giant every episode, right? Like, would I have loved to have seen an action scene in this episode? Sure. I would have loved it. Like, of course. I'm not ever going to say no. But at the same time, the show is doing such a great job to whereas I don't need it. I don't need it every episode.
Completely agree.
Like, I am totally happy seeing, like, the biggest, most intense scene in the episode was literally Skeen having a knife to Cassian's neck. That was the biggest intense moment of the episode. And I am totally fine with that. So
I loved the TIE fighter flying through.
Oh, okay. I guess you can kind of that a little bit more. And I wanted to actually get into that a little bit later. I wanted to say
love
something about that. But I think the show is doing it so well. Like, if we don't have to care about having a major action scene in the episodes and we're okay with the episode, that's doing a great job writing a TV show. It's great storytelling. It's great screenwriting. It's great character development. It's great everything. And Andor,
would you be open? Sorry.
I was just going to say, Andor just it's hitting home runs left and right. Like, it is currently winning the home run derby out of all the shows.
If they were to do this with all of the main Rogue One characters, would you be interested in it? Like, because I could absolutely see like a Guardians of the Will one, like that one.
Yeah, I don't. Easy. Maybe. I mean, honestly, like,
I just kind of want to see Felicity Jones again. As
that's the only one I think I would want. Like, obviously, I would not disagree with the Baze and Chirrut one seeing them and doing their Guardians of the Will. Like, sure, but I think the only one that I would really want personally is Jin with Saw as a 16-year-old who was basically a gun for hire, right? Raised in this, and it like the show ends with her leaving Saw, and then we pick back up with her in Rogue One. Like, I think that's the only one that I would really want. I don't need them to make 4 different Rogue One spinoffs. You know what I mean?
I think you could very much do one with Baze and Chirrut. You can do one with Jin, and I don't think you really need anyone else.
Well, you can do one with Krennic.
Oh, I don't even need Krennic. I'm fine with Krennic, but I just think like it would be very, very interesting. And I can't think of something that's been done like that, where it was a movie and then you now have like this group of characters and you have to a split
Marvel.
Off different stories going.
Marvel, Brian.
Yeah, but the movie
they did the Avengers and they split them off into solo movies.
Well, I was trying to think of the movie coming first and then.
No, they've never done the movie first and then characters, but
I think the Guardians of the Wills would be amazing.
For sure, because it's such a unique piece of Star Wars.
Rogue One is this time period, and that movie is pretty well universally loved. So I think, I mean,
I've heard many people say it's their favorite.
Yeah, I know. So I mean,
where do you stand on Rogue One?
Oh, definitely the favorite of the Disney era Star Wars. I can't go further back than that because, a lot of the ones before that, stand the test of time for me. Nostalgia, so we'll see how Rogue One is in another 5 years, how people look at it, or 4 years.
All right, let's get into Cassian's story in this episode just a little bit. So we pick up obviously with them kind of picking up what they need to, traveling to the camp. It's a little bit of a process. We see some conversation between some characters. Skeen is obviously a little bit hesitant towards Cassian, and it's throughout the episode. We get some really good moments between Cassian and some other characters. Nemec has some really good moments. We obviously have the moment where Skeen puts a knife to Cassian's neck, and Cassian then ends up telling them a little bit of the truth of why he's there, because he was paid. That's all he basically said. He didn't say, what his name was or where he's from or anything like that, but that he's basically a gun for hire.
That kind of confused me because did they not say he's a mercenary? Like, isn't that the whole point of a mercenary?
Vel and Luthen talked about that, not the group.
Oh, okay, then that makes more sense.
The group only knew. Remember, Luthen told Vel last episode, tell them that this has always been the plan.
That's right,
and that it was time that this is the only time we can get him in.
That makes sense.
And so they didn't know that he was a mercenary, or not. I mean, a mercenary is like a harsh word, but we'll use it for
the term he used
right now. Yeah, they use mercenary.
That makes sense. Now I remember that all playing out because I was sitting there going, didn't they literally use the word mercenary? Like, why are they shocked? And now
just Luthen and Vel. Yeah,
that's right.
So he revealed himself a little bit to obviously look. You got to gain a little trust as you're going into a life-threatening situation, and you need trust from everybody. And he told as much as he possibly could to get them to trust him a little bit, to kind of get them off his back about the Kyber crystal, all that stuff, and told them what they needed to hear: that he's a gun for hire, for a little help. He's doing it for some money, and if all goes well, he gets paid. And I think that's enough for the rebels to understand. All right, well, if he's here for some money, then I guess we can go forward with this. So, Gio, what do you think about all this? The kind of transition and build up to all of this, and the reveal that Cassian is a mercenary to the other rebellion. Rebels.
I like it. I mean, I feel it's necessary because you're going into this whole mission and stuff. You'd hate for it to go sideways because of distrust or whatnot. I get the feeling that Cassian's going to be the one at some point during this mission to save his ass, and then that's when a full-on trust happens.
Save Skeen?
Skeen, yeah.
Is it Skeen?
Yeah.
It's Skeen, right?
Yeah, the one with the tattoos. And plus, they kind of already have a familiarity with each other. They were talking about like some detention center, right? Or
isn't that what his tattoo was?
Yeah, they both know it, and then Skeen also opened up about his brother, obviously, and why he's there.
Right. So you're slowly starting to see, them, I guess, trust each other, although trust is a strong word at this point.
Yeah.
I think he said this is like the closest you're going to get to an apology or something.
The closest you're going to get to an apology. Yeah. And meanwhile, you have what's her face, the one who's in charge, just trying to keep everybody, Vel, trying to keep everyone all together, and whatnot. And she's obviously having secrets of her own on Cassian's behalf. So it's a good tension to have, as we make our way slowly toward the mission.
Agreed. I mean, you have to have this character development at some point. You can't just, you can sometimes with certain characters, but you can't go into a fight like this and spend 2 episodes with these characters and not know them, right? Like, you have to know them a little bit. And, they talked about a little bit how, Nemec is all in. He's a believer. He is someone that completely buys in on the situation.
Where's my red flag? He kind of red flagged me a little bit today. I was kind of like,
how so?
He's a little bit crazy. Like,
you think he's like Imperial?
No.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you meant by red flag.
No. I'm talking like him and Saw would be like best friends, like type. Like, I saw something. I was like,
what moment are you talking about?
Just in like the way he was talking, like when he was speed talking and stuff. Like,
I think he just talks really fast. I think it's just him.
I don't remember.
He's passionate, Andy. Yes, that's a great way. It's a great way to say it.
I don't know. There was kind of
maybe he has a Star Wars form of ADHD or something, Brian.
What if he?
What if what?
Who's to say that Cyril's not passionate?
Cyril's a nut job.
I was getting nut job from
no way.
A little
not
bit.
Baby boy Nemec.
A little bit. I was kind of like
not baby boy Nemec.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I feel like almost they're kind of the same person on opposite sides of the spectrum. That's just me. Because I kind of was like when he like just went, I was just like,
he's a passionate human being and he believes. He's a believer.
I mean, he's gonna be dead at the end of the next episode. So
don't say it ain't so.
We're watching Game of Thrones too much. Like, don't fall in love with characters because they're gonna die. Like it's.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's totally biting the dust. He's completely biting the dust. It sucks, but he's totally dying.
Yeah, and I think their sacrifice is going to further propel Cassian into believing in the alliance.
With what Gio said about Cassian saving, what's his name? Skeen? Yeah. I think Skeen's going to save Cassian and say something about rebellion that's just kind of like gonna stick with him.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why this is being shown. I think this is the moment that, like you guys said, kind of pushes Cassian to be a full-on believer in what they're doing, and that they can take down the Empire in small pieces, no matter how absolutely small they are. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested. I'm interested in what it comes down to of Cassian saving Skeen or Skeen saving Cassian. I tend to believe that he might be the only one that makes it out.
If you had to bet on someone saving someone, I'm just curious. What do you think? Because the way they're setting it up, it definitely gives that like, I'm not going to trust you until the thing happens, and then something's going to happen where it's going to like, I quickly trusted you. Like,
I don't know.
You get that vibe.
I think Nemec and Cinta are going to survive with Cassian.
Dude, I don't. There's like a little bit of that. Like, not that I don't trust Cinta. Like, I'm like, I don't know. She doesn't talk much. She's always kind of like in the background.
I think she's a total badass.
I agree, but like, I'm just kind of like,
I think.
What is your job? That is the kind of my main question.
She's definitely the doctor. She's definitely the doctor of the group.
The medic.
Yep. Yeah, she's the medic. But I for some reason think that she makes it out. Because I feel like now that we know that her and Vel are together, that they have a thing together. I see Vel dying, and not Cinta. Like I see Cinta watching Vel die. And as like terrible as that sounds, that's kind of how I see it. She's gonna get
shot. It's just
I see Gorn. I also see Gorn dying in the line of fire. I'm not sure about what's his name, the other one, Taramek. Is it Taramon? Taramin? I think it's Taramin.
Imperial?
No, the guy that was put in charge at the end of the episode. The other, I think it's Taramin.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna bite the dust as well.
He hasn't been used enough, really. I feel like that
I don't know. It's interesting. Either way, there's gonna be a lot of death next episode. There's gonna be a lot of death. As far as like the whole Cassian stuff in the episode, I really, really enjoyed it.
I'll laugh if we're all wrong and they just survive. Every single one of them survives.
Andy, we do have the names up, but for some reason I didn't write his name down.
I was just literally looking for it too.
He's the only name I didn't write down. I think it's Taramin, but or Tamarin, one or the other.
Tamarin, I think is what it is.
Tamarin. So look, I really enjoyed the Cassian stuff. I talked earlier about the pacing and how I like the slow burn and then taking their time with characters. I loved some of the conversations that were happening between characters. Big reveals, kind of backgrounds. There you go. Background stuff for some characters, learning a little bit more about them. I really enjoyed it. I think that it's great. It's also setting us up because if they're giving us backstory on characters, then it's going to make us want to see them more, and then they're just going to kill them. And it's going to hurt that much more. I also love the Gorn stuff. I love seeing inside of the facility because now we kind of have like a blueprint of what it all looks like and kind of what they're headed into. Yeah, I think that stuff is really cool. The TIE fighter scene was incredible. was incredible.
There are some sounds in this world from anywhere in the world you could be in the middle of nowhere and hear a sound and immediately know what it is. And a TIE fighter screech is absolutely one of them if you're a Star Wars fan. At any point. In the distance, you could just hear the no, and just be like, TIE fighter?
Well, I love that they didn't put any music behind it until it got closer, and it was just the TIE fighter, and then it became... And that pilot, whoever he is, total asshole, doing the Maverick flyby, just had to do it. Just to a bunch of farmers. Just had to do his little Star Wars flyby. But I also love how the scene kind of... It paints the Empire in a little bit of different light, right? It really made them kind of fearful. Obviously we know like how fearful the Empire is, but in all of Star Wars, it's always just been Vader, Palpatine, the Death Star, Star Destroyers, etc. Now we're going up a garrison and a dam with a couple TIE fighters, and they're really, really trying to push it home that they can be as far away from the main battalion of Imperial troops and still be terrifying. Mm-hmm. It's a time where they are in complete control, and showing that TIE fighter doing that, how much control they have over the land, no matter how big or small the planet may be. They did a really good job of painting the Empire as, look, they're still scary. They are still scary. They're in a time where it's their height. They are in control of everything. They're the ultimate power in the galaxy, and what they're trying to do, no matter how small of a dam it may be, it's still a very, very large thing for them to achieve.
Do you think there's stormtroopers in there, or are they just workers?
I don't know. It seems like it would just be workers.
I'm starting to think that too. Like, I've been just kind of shocked that we haven't seen a stormtrooper either, just like standing on top of the dam building.
Yeah.
Dam building.
Well, as far as...
Or something.
Yeah, as far as Empire assignments go, didn't they say, like, that planet world is, like, one of the, like, lower ones? Police. Yeah, I mean, you have a couple TIE fighters. That's all you really need, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of
until next episode. So.
Yeah. Well, it leads into what John said too. Yeah.
Yeah, here you go. Here's from John. Like how Gorn set it up so that the garrison would be empty without being the one to push for it, so no one gets sussy about him.
Because I mean, like Gio said, they made a point to say, like, this planet like sucks. They don't like it. No one wants to come. The only reason is for this light show that's about to happen, and they didn't want to be stuck inside while that happened.
Yeah.
So, which works into the favor of...
As of right now, it's all going according to plan, but we know as far as the rebellion goes, it never goes according to plan. So, very interested in where that is headed. Any final thoughts on everything that's happening with Cassian and company before we move on to Mon Mothma and then Cyril as well? Anything else, boys?
I just love that TIE fighter little scene.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's like the moment where we first saw.
Gave you a little bit of tension that you needed in this episode.
It's like it was like the first time we saw the fire spray in Mando when he dropped the bomb, and we were like, "Oh,
yeah," because there wasn't. We've talked about it already. There wasn't action, but they definitely had points of tension to actually give you a little bit of like, not just this mundane speaking. Like, and the two were probably all through this, which was the TIE fighter and then him stealing the kyber crystal, and like those were, I mean, if you call action or point of tension like that, those were the scenes. So like,
sure,
they were both pretty cool.
I mean, wasn't exactly a planet blowing up or limbs getting cut off, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Gio's just here for the violence, let's be honest. All right, let's get to Mon Mothma. We didn't get a whole lot of her this episode, just a few small scenes. But we did learn, which don't want to brag, but I feel like I'm the only person on the planet who said it last week, that we didn't get to see the dinner scene. We skipped over the dinner scene, which I know everyone in the world is pretty disappointed because there were some cool characters there. It could have been a really cool moment. Mon Mothma in the corner up against a lot of players that she's fighting against. But we still got some
more.
Yeah, Sly Moore, exactly. But we definitely got some interesting scenes with her. The main one being, I guess you can kind of consider it the breakfast scene with her husband and her daughter. We got to meet their daughter for the first time, and I forgot what I called Mr. Mothma last week. I forgot what I called him. Yeah, I called him something else though.
Pushover.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
a wuss.
Yeah, he's all the above. But we basically see that her husband and her daughter are not on the same page as her. They aren't really a fan of what she's doing, that she seems to be keeping it a secret. She has no support from her family. I will also add that I don't know if you guys saw this, but Tony Gilroy in an interview last week, or maybe an interview that was done a long time ago that was posted, he did say that the Mothmas, Mr. and Mrs., it was an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
So
didn't he say it was like she had a baby out of wedlock and that was like shameful? So that's kind of like
maybe. All I saw was the quote that he said is basically look at it as an arranged marriage, essentially, is what it was.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly can tell that they just don't like each other. And maybe they did at one point because obviously they had a daughter, but maybe that fizzled out over certain times or certain career paths being taken or whatever. But yeah, I mean, look, it's being set up to like, and it's interesting because even though we know where Cassian ends up, this woman is literally the reason the galaxy is saved. She is number one. Uno. She is top player at one point in time. She's not right now. She has a long way to go, obviously. But we're seeing her in such a different light compared to what we've seen her in the past. Even in Rogue One, which is 5 years down the road. She is in such a different part of her life. She's a completely different character from what she is now compared to where she is in Rogue One and eventually in Return of the Jedi when we see her again. It's very interesting. I'm very intrigued in how this whole process with her goes because in 5 years, which is a short amount of time, she goes from what seems like a very open, not bright, but just kind of like normal person who's trying to fight for what she wants to a very mundane, reserved person who becomes the leader of the rebellion.
Extremely guarded and
and I'm very terrified that it has to do something with her daughter. Like I'm very scared that it has to do something with her daughter.
Oh, they're for sure gonna die.
Like that is like I don't care about Daddy Mothma. Like
parent
can go away. But
Daddy Mothma.
Yeah. Like if she turns that way and goes full force against the Empire because her daughter dies, oof.
I mean, I would think it's safe to say that that's going to happen in some capacity.
Yeah.
At the same time, her daughter's kind of a prick too, so I don't really feel that bad.
Okay, fair enough.
So I help clarify: the dad and the daughter do not know what she's doing.
No.
Well, right? Okay, I had a question about that because
all they know is a foundation.
Yeah, it almost like they made it seem like they know what she's doing.
See, now I took it as they think that she's like cheating on the husband. Like it sounded like it very much like I'm keeping a secret from you and the and we know, but you're not like bold enough to say it. But little do they know that the secret that they think is happening is not what it is, but possible. It's something that you obviously can't be like, yeah, I'm starting a rebellion against the whole entire empire. So like, can you just chill the hell out? Like right now, I'm not cheating on Dad. It's just like, yeah.
Do they think it's the driver or something?
No, because didn't he say something like?
Because he asked
about another man.
He said something about someone, but I don't know who it was. And maybe someone in the chat can clarify for us. That's what I thought, John. John said they seem mad that she puts her senator job ahead of them. That's kind of what I felt, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, this poor woman is under so much stress. Like she said in the first episode, she's literally, or the third episode, or maybe it was the fourth. I don't know. One or the other. She's literally the person who can be taken down first out of everybody. If all of this is out in the open, she is target numero uno. And so this woman is trying to keep her family alive, family together. She's trying to keep the rebellion together, all while keeping it a secret. Like, maybe that's why she becomes so just dull later in life, because she's given everything now. I don't know.
Because she realizes something has to be sacrificed for the greater good. I don't know.
I mean, that's definitely the case. That's
she has to obviously know that her husband would never be a part of something like this. He's could give two cares about what the Empire's doing. So like
he's for himself and himself only.
Exactly. Like he's living comfy life under Empire rules. So it's like, why uproot the system? So you obviously can't say anything to him. And the daughter seems to play into whatever the dad wants. And I mean, not unrightfully so, because like you can't trust let's just say a 14-year-old with like, yeah, I'm trying to uproot the government. Like, just kind of keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
It's like,
I agree.
So obviously she's gonna have to keep them at an arm's length, but it's gonna come at the sacrifice of her kid and her
or
husband.
Something dear to her.
Well,
could be that. They do have a sweet ride though. Oh my god,
that car is so dope.
Damn.
Yeah, I guess the ship. I guess you can call it
the ship is whatever
so
it is.
It is so good looking.
They look that every time like that. Anytime Coruscant stuff comes up, like it's just so.
Well, there's a reason why they always do a slow-mo shot to introduce the car, because they know they're like, yeah, we did damn good with this thing. We did damn good with this thing.
It's almost like they're making sure you realize you're on Coruscant, like a level of luxury, and this is the highest part of the galaxy, and to which then you get Cyril, who seems to be like literally at one point looking up out the window.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah. Hi, Gabs.
That is everyone's saying hi because you're so loud. You clearly did. You have a plastic bag in your hand. Do you want to come say hi now that everyone knows you're here?
Sorry.
Well, yeah, she's clearly under a lot of pressure. Going into art galleries or something, and I guess the Star Wars version of a pawn shop, and picking out something for her husband, and can only move so much money around.
I want to see so much more in that pawn shop. Yeah,
and the way that Skarsgard's character Lucian can just flip it. He puts on a wig, puts on a.
Well, did you watch last week? Up until that scene, I didn't know that was Skarsgard in the trailers. I swear to God. I'm not kidding. When he changed, I lost my mind. I call me the dumbest person in the world, because I literally was like,
no, Brian, we know who pulled a worse move this morning than I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say out loud.
Sorry, did I say Lucian? I was thinking something else.
Keep thinking about Lex Luthor. Just hair.
But no,
too many L names. Get the L names out of here.
Well, when I speak fast, I don't even realize what I'm
Luthor,
saying.
Lucian, Luthen, get out of here.
Luke,
Leia. But yeah, I was flabbergasted when he put that wig on, and it was the same person, because in the trailers I thought they were absolutely different people.
That's hilarious.
One hell of a facade.
Gio, question for you, because you didn't talk about him too much. Is Stellan Skarsgård the greatest thing to ever happen to Star Wars?
Tell me, I'm gonna need time to think about that, but in recent memory, yeah. I mean, just like again,
he's
like
so good.
Yeah,
God,
so good.
Man, it's such a perfect role for him too.
It so is.
Man, just
what are your odds, Gio, of him making it out of the series alive?
He'll make it to season 2.
Do you think he makes it out of season 2 though?
Depends. Are they gonna do season 3 or that's it?
No, it's 2 seasons.
It literally it ends 5 hours before Rogue One starts.
No.
They said the last shot. They said the last shot of the show is going to be Cassian walking on the tarmac to his ship and leaving to the Rings of Catherine, which is the opening scene of Rogue One. That'll be the very last thing that we see.
Yeah, he's not going to make it out. Which sucks. Man.
No, but, hey, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
I don't think he's making out of season 1. That's what I said. And I hate to say it, but I don't think he's making out of season 1.
Damn.
I know. I know.
I'd be so.
I know, but they have to raise it. Like, we're in a time of Star Wars where the stakes are at the absolute highest, and you have to do something to solidify that. So,
I think it would be, it would be such a heartbreaking scene if like the Empire just busts into his shop and it's just
think that's exactly what's going to happen.
And he gets full blown busted, and you're just like, damn it.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
I think so too, but it's just like,
because it fits. It fits with the type of show or story that they're telling.
Yeah, and
like he gets outed, or there's suspicion around him, and they bust him. Yeah, they raid his shop.
Oh,
it's gonna suck. It's gonna break my heart.
This show is so good. It's so well written. It is so well written.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about. I think my AirPod just disconnected. Hold on. Uh oh. There we go. Let's talk about Cyril. The last thing that we could talk about in this episode. We got some more scenes with him this episode than we did the last episode, and he's in mommy jail. He hates his life at the moment. He's at the bottom of the barrel of Coruscant, looking for 1 minute of sunlight a day, and apparently going to work for his uncle at some point.
This uncle.
Yeah, his uncle.
Come on, like. I can't be the only one that's like I feel like a face is going to pop up. Like
it's going to be someone big. It has to be someone big for sure.
Yeah.
But what are we thinking about Cyril so far? Like his kind of story at the moment. We obviously see at the very end of the episode that he still has the little hologram of Cassian, and he wants a little revenge tour. What is everyone's thoughts so far on Cyril? Gio, go ahead.
Wow, what a fall from grace. That guy.
That's a really good way to put it.
If he had and he has no one to blame but himself, he thought he was this person until he actually went out there into the battlefield and realized, no, I'm not this person. I'm very much I'm book smart, maybe not street smart, and I don't know. I get this feeling that he could have a redemption arc in the form of, what if he switches sides? Like how would that
will? Absolutely, someone will.
Like how would that work? Like just there's a reason why his character keeps coming back. He's obviously going to play a bigger part, but I'm interested to see who this uncle is, and will he be the opposite of what Luthen is to Cassian, where Saw, yeah.
So, it's not Saw.
No, it's not Saw, but I can't wait to see.
Watch it be Saw. Oh my god.
I can't wait to see Saw, man. Come on.
I hope this Saw is a little bit better than the Saw in Rogue One. That's all
the Saw in Rogue One was like tail end, right?
I think this is gonna be like peak Saw Gerrera.
I hope so.
Peak, like not optimistic Saw, but like peak, like stuff is gonna.
We saw him in Rebels. We saw him in Rebels and how well done he was in Rebels. Like he was at his like military height.
And this is happening at the same time as season 1.
Yeah, so it's very similar timing. So I hope they definitely adapt the character a little bit better than they did. Not that to say I hated the character. I thought it was a very weak version of the character compared to what we had just witnessed in Rebels and even in Clone Wars when we saw him at a little bit younger age. But yeah, so I mean, look, I think Cyril, his story out of all of them is taking his time. He's definitely on a path to maybe a little bit of revenge, or maybe redemption.
I still think he's going to work with blonde chick,
Deidre.
Yeah,
It's kind of where I think it's headed as well. I think at some point,
because she's desperate to find out what happened on that planet, and he's literally on the planet that she's on right now.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some way that their paths are going to cross. I don't know how just yet. It's going to be a random act of just running into each other.
I forgot about her.
I do think that his path eventually leads him to joining the Empire. Personally,
the Empire.
Yeah, I think he becomes an Imperial.
So he gets a promotion.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, but maybe he works so well with her that she gives him basically a letter of recommendation, and that's how he gets a job. You know,
maybe they
or
fall
maybe
in
he
love.
does something. Maybe he does something so well, not as an Imperial, and they see it and they're like, "Okay, well, come work for us." You know, and because he just fits the type. He kind of just fits the type, and he always did from the moment we met him. He fit the Imperial type.
Mm-hmm. I could see Vader choking him to death at some point.
But yeah, so it's interesting. His story is definitely taking its time. So is Deidre's. Both of theirs are taking their time. But like we talked about with the arcs, I think their stories are going to be woven in much more in the third and fourth arcs. The first two arcs, they're like, obviously we saw Cyril in the first 3 episodes a lot. We saw Deidre a little bit in this one. But I think once we wrap back around away from this planet and the heist, and we get into the kind of heart of what the story is going to be about, see a little bit more Mon Mothma, maybe go back to Ferrix, their stories are going to come back around, and we're going to be able to see Deidre more of Cyril, and possibly them confronting Cassian at one point. So, do we think Cassian's headed back to Ferrix at any point?
I think towards the end of the season.
I think so too.
Yeah,
we need more Bix.
I think maybe like 9.
That's fair. Like maybe the last arc is all back on Ferrix.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
That's fair. All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts on Andor episode 5 before we wrap up?
Great show.
Great start. Yeah, great start. You know, what Luthen said towards the end of this episode when I guess his lady is like, you know, at this time tomorrow it'll be the end.
I love her, by the way.
Or maybe the beginning. It's that right there is exactly what this whole series is. The beginning of the rebellion. So
you're right.
Saw Gerrera. Come on, guy.
I love Luthen's assistant, by the way. I think she's awesome. And I hope we get to see more of her, even though I think she's probably gonna die. Brian, what about you? Any final thoughts?
Literally not one person survives this show.
No.
The only person that survives the show is Cassian. Mon Mothma is even up there at the way we're killing off people.
Yeah, right.
This show, it's like literally watching a movie every single time. I love it. It's one of the only shows that is so like, I almost put Game of Thrones just in its own category because there just never seems to be anything like just written and produced as well as Game of Thrones, where it just like consistently hits every single episode, except for the last season. This is doing that for me, where it's just literally consistently hitting every single episode. And there might not be any crazy action like there was in this episode, but the episode still hits. The dialogue between characters, like there's no stupid or non-important parts in there. Everything that's in there is in there for a reason, and they're doing it to tell this story. And in this case, 2 stories, because you have Mon Mothma's story playing at the same time. It's brilliantly done. And I think it's better written than Mandalorian. I think it's the way it's playing out is it blows my mind. Like, I mean, like I said, any other show, I would have been like, oh, this is a filler episode. But with this, it's just like, all right, that's literally the middle part of the movie. Just give me to the next part so I can see the end of it. Like, it's incredible.
I agree. I watch every episode, finishing it, wanting the next one to start right away. I mean, it's. I can't wait to watch this back, like all 12 episodes in one day. Just have a day off and just binge the hell out of it.
I think it might be one of the most rewatchable, like binge through shows that Marvel or Star Wars, any streaming thing has.
I mean, I said it last week. I think it's the best thing that Disney has done with Star Wars since they've gotten the property. The show is phenomenally written, and it's even better executed, which is a big deal. So, yeah, Andor is all thumbs up here, guys. It is all thumbs up here. That is going to wrap it up today, this week. Everything Andor episode 5. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in the chat, we see you guys. We appreciate it. Let's do some quick plugs before we wrap it up for the evening. Gio, where can everybody find you online?
On Twitter at InsiderGeo. Thank you, Jake, for making that happen for me and giving me that idea.
Twitter
and Fandom United, my separate YouTube channel. Check me out there. I do separate 5-minute digestible videos and give my opinions on stuff.
Gio, I got to teach you some TikTok because I feel like you'd blow up on TikTok, my guy. Brian, what about you?
Be evolved soon on Twitter and Instagram. Marvel Rewind tomorrow. Our boy's coming back. He's returned.
Did you watch the clip?
No, I'm staying away from everything. The
only
only thing I've watched,
so far away from it.
The only thing I've watched is the frog guy, and it got me so excited. Like, it's just peak
Leapfrog.
Leapfrog. Yeah. Leapfrog. It's just peak stupidity character that I absolutely am going to love and spend money buying pointless crap on. But yeah,
Leapfrog.
So come back. I'm sure some people will want to be on that, talking it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, check us out tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, probably around the same time here, 6:30. We already have a guest lined up for next week's finale, which is super exciting. Brian doesn't know about. And then Saturday afternoon, 4:00 Pacific, Keith and Jacob will be reviewing the latest episode of The Rings of Power. They're going a little bit later in the day than the first couple episodes. Keith works for FedEx, and so when the holidays happen, his schedule gets chaotic. So he's working Saturday mornings, which is why the show's been pushed back. So it's at 4:00 Pacific on the channel, and they are talking The Rings of Power. So check that out, and then we'll be back next week with all of our shows as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Everyone who watches weekly, we really appreciate it, guys. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll catch you guys next week.